Thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. You're listening to When Brothers Talk Radio Show, and we're your hosts, Chris and Ben, along with a group of people that I refuse to name. I'm going to let them talk for themselves, so we're going to just keep it moving. This evening, we have been having some phenomenal conversations, and we thought to share with you. And tonight, we're talking about the power of femininity. Is there really a definition for femininity? Like, who defines or approves what is or is not acceptable as feminine? What influences the definition of femininity? Well, who better than to enlighten us than these women who are here to share with us what it means to be woman and the stigmas that have been attached as well as their successes. We have a group of professional women here who knows what it means to be woman. They are on the dean's list and have enrolled in the University of Life and are walking the corridors of I don't believe he brought me this far, not far, far to leave. These women are the epitome of women because they have been daughters, sisters, wives, mothers, head of household with and without men, know what it means to be excellent as well as what it means to be strong and soft. So again, we're here and with all those accolades, I forgot who they are. So they're going to tell you their name. Who's going to go first? I'm going to select Juanita to talk to us.
Of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Juanita McClurkin. I'm actually the host, Chris McClurkin's sister. And I actually coach young people. I talk to them about their lives, their plans, their goals. So my heart, my soul is all about capturing the young at a young age. As you know, biblical principles are train up a child as they go, and when they're old, they won't depart. And that's my goal. That's my dream. That's my passion. So that's who I am.
Awesome. Jessica, talk to us.
Well, what's up, everybody?
What's
Chef
up?
Jess. What's up, aka Jessica? And I have a couple last names, and we'll get to that because I've been married a couple times, so I feel like I have a certain level of expertise or failures to share with the group. I do to share with the world, but I just love to cook. That is something I've always done. I prioritize my life toward food. I mean to say that with intention toward food. I love that. I love talking about it. I love preparing it. I love shopping for it. I love seeing people enjoy it. That's my thing. It sparks conversation. Nobody feels more love than when they're eating some good food. And so I get the best of people most of the time. So, and I also am a leader by whether it be working on campaigns and politics here in Atlanta, Alaska, and other places, United States Army veteran, mother of five. I could go on,
The list
Lean
could
Six
go
Sigma,
on.
all that. I could go on, but I'll leave it right there.
Well, listen, we want to make sure these ladies have the opportunity to tell you how to get in contact with them. Alicia, talk to us. Can't wait to hear from you. Listen, first of all, before we move forward, you guys know us, but y'all also know Alicia. Alicia's been hanging in there with us, and so we so appreciate her. And she's not a pushover. She stands her ground, and we all appreciate and love that about her. So,
Absolutely.
Alicia, talk to us.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I want to give my honor and respect to the ladies who are here tonight. Thank you for rocking with us tonight. So glad to see your faces and feel the energy that's coming from you. I am Alicia Jenkins. I'm a servant. That's all I can say. I'm a mother of four, previously married and divorced. Been rocking this thing out for 11 years by myself, and it's been good. I also, I'm a professional in healthcare, but I am also a volunteer with our local high school's track team. Wrapping up on our season here shortly, and I'm just blessed to be in the presence of those young men and women as well. And I also am a life insurance producer here in the state of South Carolina. My passion is to help people find their purpose and push them through it, just to get started. So grateful to be here. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you guys are ready, we are ready ourselves for a exciting show with great conversation. Nothing's been rehearsed, nothing's been scripted. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. My question I have right now, just before we even go further, my question right now is, can a woman lead a man without being the head of that man? Can she lead a man without being the head of that man? Now, listen, if you're listening to my question, You know where I'm coming from. Can a woman lead a man without being the head of that man? Ladies, talk to us.
I think we can work in tandem. I
Hmm.
don't think anybody who wants to be led will be led. What you seek is seeking you. So I do believe that a woman can, in tandem, work in partnership, but I don't think it's her job after a man's coming of age. I
Mhm.
don't think it's her job to lead that man. I don't think she wants to take on leading that man. If the leader is already established in that man, then we won't even have this discussion.
Mm. Mhm.
Any pushback, Ben? You know, Ben is our favorite and famous pushbacker. So
Would
no,
I
just
even
to
say
love him.
pushback? I don't know. Like let's hear from the rest of the ladies. I don't want to jump in right now. Go ahead,
I
Miss
was just
Alicia.
Man, no,
curious.
I didn't do that to you, did I?
No, because I like I agree and disagree,
Mhm.
but I think it's positionally because
Okay.
there's times. So I think that like there's this misnomer that men are automatically the leader in every situation, and we're not. So can a woman lead a man? There's times that the woman is supposed to lead a man because it is her initiative,
Hmm.
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
It is her initiative. And so if it is her initiative, then the man should be falling under subject to the woman because it is her initiative that is being driven at that particular time. Now, if we're talking about the structure, the construct of the home and things like that, those are different conversations. But there's not a fall. Look, y'all gonna get me going. I don't want to
Okay.
get
All
going.
right. We're
Miss
gonna
Alicia,
go.
come on. Well, I need to talk to
Okay.
somebody. Get me out of here,
When
please.
needed. When
So this
needed.
is the thing. I actually agree with you to a point, Ben, because I'm always a person, I like to know what words mean. So when you're talking about leading, I looked up the definition for a lead. What does it mean to lead? So it's the initiative, Ben, as you said, in an action, an example for others to follow. So if I'm strong in an area in my relationship that man may not be strong in, then I can take the lead or the initiative so that he can actually grow and learn from what I'm doing. So I don't think it's necessarily a thing where it's an all or nothing type of situation. I
Right.
think it is situational
Hmm.
based on the circumstances, based on the issue, as to whether or not a woman can lead and still be feminine or even be submissive to whatever the situation is. But
Mm.
yeah, I think it's situational.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Alicia, talk to us, Miss Jenkins.
So I I agree with some of the points that were given, and I won't say I disagree with many or any. I just feel like it is, and it's been my experience that, you know, broadly speaking, there are some of us women who are more driven. There are some of us women who are working towards something. Some of us who are even anointed and gifted to be able to pull things out of people. And at times to find, if we're with a man who tends to be that dominant or type A personality, as they say, women like us at times, I say us, Lord, forgive me. But for
Oh,
women,
you don't
women
forgive me,
who are
sweetie.
like
You
that,
can be
you
type A
know,
and still be feminine.
so with that exactly. And so with that being said, sometimes we butt heads if there's ever the battle, of who is going to lead. However, I believe even in those situations, especially with women, when we know the power of femininity, we understand the power that we have as women. We understand how we can direct, um, or guide, massage, suggest in a manner
Influence.
that influence exactly that directs in one way or another, still giving the man room to ultimately make his decision in a manner that doesn't make that man feel as though we are trying to lead him, force him, or to do something. So I mean, but I do believe that's an agreement. It's like submitting to one another, submitting to my position, my ability to do that without making this man feel small, without making him feel as though I am trying to rule over him, and yet still at times pulling that leader out of him that
Mhm.
he may not have discovered at this time. As a mom, I see that with my sons, but definitely I could see it how it would be applied in, say, a partnership or marriage.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So let me jump in real quick because I want to come back to especially what Jessica was saying. And like now, where do I disagree, right? Because
Mhm.
you spoke earlier about being a leader, right?
Mhm.
If you are a leader, I'm military, right? I was in the Marine Corps. You know what? I was in enlisted. There were female sergeants that I worked under. Women are in leadership capacities all day long. And so, to come back to the question, Chris, can a woman lead a man? Yes, absolutely, a woman can lead a man. We have women church leaders. Guess who are under their auspices? Men. You have women, female CEOs. So I think that the issue to me is not necessarily can a woman lead a man, because there are times when the woman is in position of leadership. I think that the problem with the leadership, especially if we were to focus to the home, because I think that's the direction of your question. When we look at it within the construct of the home, the woman is the most powerful person in the home. It is not the man. I always say this: the woman is the neck, and they are not the head. The neck directs the head where to go. Head can't turn nowhere without a neck, right? And so you 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 don't necessarily have to be the head to be the lead. I'm literally, if I can't turn my head this way without this thing. It's leading me in that direction. The other thing that happens is that we you need to have both polars inside of the house, right? You need to have a north and a south. There are times inside of a home when the woman is going to be the one that is operating in the masculine, the leadership capacity, right? Now, the thing is, you also need to come into the feminine so that the man can lead. There's got to be that time. There is no. I just don't believe in this whole idea and this whole construct that man is in the charge all the time. We're not built like that.
I
That
totally
is
agree.
not.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I get it because of the fact, when the question came to me, it was just like, wow, first of all, I went to Deborah in the text, and she was a judge of Israel. Most people talk of the fact that Deborah was a judge, and so we're thinking she was the only one in charge. Her husband, she was the prophetess or the prophet. I don't like the S stuff. So anyway, she was a prophet. So with that being said, she was the judge. Now, was she able to delineate or give a message to the people? Yes. Did she judge and assess situations? Yes. Was she out of order? No. Then we also have submitting one to another as unto. You follow me? Now, so all of this tied together, yes, a woman can lead a man. She can. To influence him, to help him, to lead him. But a wise man is going to know that two are better than one. So bottom line, I need to submit to your knowledge. I need to submit to your knowledge. So yes, a woman can lead a man and not be the head of that man. If we're going to look at the context of the word head, and it's such a negative one. But seriously, I believe working together.
I was going to interject and
Mhm.
say, but a great leader, by definition, as well. Thank you, Juanita. I needed somebody to say that as well, knows how to follow and when to follow, and has a certain charisma about them, so it doesn't feel forced. And people do that in tandem. You do that together. That's why I made sure to say in tandem.
Mm-hmm.
That because there are times that you're going to need to lean on each other. That is what real partnership is.
Listen, there is nothing like finding that woman who is after the heart of the Creator. Chris Garvin talked to us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, everyone? So to answer that question, not just to agree, but based on what I believe and how I feel, my answer is yes. And I say that because I know that I don't know it all. And I'm okay with asking for help, or if I acknowledge that she has a strength, or she's strong where I'm not so strong, uh, especially with shopping, because I have a tendency to go in the store and just grab something and pay for it. And a lot of times, I mean, I know that a lot of women can be great bargain shoppers. And I'm cool with that. I don't believe it makes me any less of a man, any less of a leader. I'm cool with that. So that's why I would say yeah. I would say yeah.
Okay. All right. All
I'm
right.
with it.
So ladies, let me ask you, how would you define femininity? How would you define it?
So with femininity, this has been a recent learning of mine, a recent study of mine. Femininity for me is how I execute, how I, it's part of the being of me being the mother that I am, the leader that I am, the friend that I am. It is my awareness of knowing who I am, what is my purpose, how I operate in that purpose in a way that is, I believe, incubating or bringing forth purpose, moving forward in whatever it is that I'm doing, helping to nurture, build up, not tear down the things that are supposed to grow.
So when I think about femininity, I think about the aspects of being a woman, because by definition, femininity is just like classifying the characteristics that belong to a woman or a girl. So, but to express it and to show femininity is self-care. It's knowing who you are as a woman. It's being able to flow in who you are as a woman. It's accepting who you are as a woman. It's also acknowledging your flaws, acknowledging what you need to work on, acknowledging your strengths, and making sure that even with those strengths, you help others to grow. So I think femininity has to do with all the encompassing of the beautiful qualities of a woman while she's cultivating others.
Alicia, I'm going to buy insurance. Juanita, can I be in your class?
Right? You know what
I'm
I'm
just
saying?
saying.
Okay.
I mean, Jessica, go ahead, because I know I'm a buy plate. Go ahead.
Look, I don't have a finite definition of femininity. All I know is that I embody it. So I've birthed children. It doesn't mean that birthing children is the only way to validate being a woman. But the things I've done, and I did that early. So early on at 19 starting, I realized that that was part of my femininity. I didn't know the power of it until I've had some wisdom under my belt, some years, a couple gray hairs and stuff. Now I'm starting to learn the power of my femininity. But if I'm being completely transparent, full stop, I didn't know my value in that way at first. Now, that doesn't mean I acted out and did a bunch of craziness that would be the antithesis of being feminine, but I think it's too dynamic for me to give a finite answer. I love Juanita and Alicia. I love their answers. I do. I don't have one that's so finite that I can be so descript and put it into a framework. I wish I could, but I just can't. I just know I embody it. I do know that.
Wow.
Okay.
That's confidence. That's femininity.
That's femininity. So
It's
like
so dynamic. It's so dynamic.
I wrote down what I thought the definition of femininity was.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I said was true femininity is the ability to embrace one's true self and to do so with confidence. I think that there is a beauty and a strength to a woman who knows who she is and is able to carry herself as such.
Mm-hmm.
That's femininity to me. That like the femininity is strong enough to be a leader, but vulnerable enough to be led. That's that is femininity to me.
Yes,
Persona.
and I'll take that.
So that's how I thought. Chris, what you got? You know what you want to chime in on this side? Either one. Talk to us. Either one. What we got?
Well, so I do have a question. I have a question. Just based on all of the responses, are we saying that femininity is all positive? Are we
No,
saying
it's
that it's
dynamic.
okay?
But see,
Gotcha.
this is the thing you have to understand when we're talking about positivity and femininity. The positive side of femininity is that she acknowledges her flaws. She's able
Right.
to work on those flaws. She understands her strengths. She's able to cultivate herself and others. So it's not all that
Gotcha.
it's going to be a positive, all encompassing. It's just that when I know my negativity, when I can acknowledge my toxic traits, I'm willing to work on those.
MVP.
Gotcha.
Juanita.
And that would be your ability to know who you are. My true self. The true self knows that I'm not perfect. The true self knows that I'm perfecting. And so I can recognize that I have issues, I have flaws, I got faults, I got traits that need to be worked on, and I am working on those, as opposed to thinking that I have arrived. Because we're never going to be perfect. We're always perfecting.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Because I
We'll
know when I heard your definition, my definition was a little different. But I don't want to be too controversial.
be controversial. Give
But
it to us. That's
Please.
what we're
Sure, please
Go
share.
ahead,
I
check out.
mean, the show wouldn't be the show.
I'm gonna share my definition. I have so I have venomous as poison, conniving, vindictive, clawing, but also loving, caring, supportive, nurturing, and inspiring. So that's why I was asking the question, like, is it supposed to be all positive or is it everything?
No.
Because I believe everything goes into this, if that makes sense.
Chris, let me say this. I would never let you get away with not acknowledging the dynamics of a woman. So if those are the four negatives, so to speak, that you came up with, I'm cool with it. I can add some more to it, but I probably can add a litany of positive stuff as well. But don't play with it. Don't play with it is all I can tell people. That venom is a warning. It says danger. Don't go there. Danger. Stop. So venom, if that's the first one, I'm here for it. It means I don't have to worry about all that foolishness. It means you know to be aware. And if you get stung by that scorpion eye, if you get stung, then you had it coming. And that's femininity as well. So I agree.
Absolutely.
So in the church I grew up in, they used to teach a class called Nasty Nice.
Nicey. Nicey. The whole thing.
That's what that sounds like. So to come back to
it's such a warning sign. Like let's be honest, some men love a toxic relationship. They love a toxic encounter.
That's true.
Love one. And who's gonna give it to you? That feminine woman that you're attracted to needs to be all those things so she can deliver on the promise that you went in for. I promise to be ungrateful to some degree. I promise to keep you on your toes. I promise.
Wow.
That's what that means as well. It can mean that too. And a man love a toxic encounter. If I put that out there. But we're talking about femininity.
They out there. So let me ask y'all ladies this. Staying in the same vein. So has what you see as femininity today, has it changed from what you were taught when you were younger? Has it changed?
Yes.
How?
Yes.
How's it changed?
My mother, I grew up 72 baby. I grew up in a household, both parents. Well, I had my stepmom and my dad, and my mother, we would go visit. But my stepmom was under the belief, and my dad was high value, low functioning at the time. High value, low functioning. Shout out to Dr. Cheyenne. Shout out to her. So anyway, he was high. And he also, he liked to get a good drink in. He gonna go do a little, that was when they called it freebasing right before crack. So, and I'm not putting out something that nobody already knows. The point of that is she thought she would be more valuable if she kept him in line, kept him together, kept his clothes so he didn't have to spend too much time, kept his job, made sure the microwave had his plate in it, make sure that we were always in a certain kind of robe and stuff. We got up, made sure we were extra feminine, made sure he had breakfast. Those things were the definition of femininity. So that sounds like if a woman didn't do those things, didn't perform in that way, it sounds like she wasn't as feminine. She was lazy. She didn't appreciate having a man. She wasn't going to be high value enough to get a man or submissive enough. So that's the premise I grew up under. But do I think that's feminine as well? It's just not. I believe femininity is not something that everybody. The cocktail's the same for every woman. I just don't believe that.
I agree.
I would agree with that as well. My definition of femininity I wouldn't even say has changed because it wasn't defined. My upbringing, my background was, I observed what I interpreted to be feminine. I observed my grandmother serving my grandfather. I observed at the same time what I thought was my mother being a doormat to my father, or and just learning how to navigate in that. But at the same time, there were aspects of what I now embrace as a component of my femininity that I was never exposed to. So, yeah, I guess by that degree, we can say it changed for sure. But I will say this right here. I appreciate my personal walk of femininity far more than anything I've ever experienced, anything I've ever observed from anyone else.
Mm.
I completely agree, Alicia. I'm glad you brought up the part of your mom feeling like she was a doormat, because I think for me, in my own personal experiences, I saw the same thing. So the pendulum swung to the opposite end for me,
Right.
because what I saw was, okay, femininity was you're a servant. Femininity means you didn't have a voice. And that's from my own experience growing up. So when I became an adult, I decided I was not going to be controlled. So I can make my own decisions. I can make my own money. I can make my own career. And I was married and happened to be married to a man who did not mind me making those decisions. It's exhausting. So what
It
I had to
is.
do was I had to learn that, okay, I'm out of balance, because my observance of femininity was so horrible and I thought it was just weakness that I said, well, no, then I'm going to become strong, not realizing that I was still out of balance. So now in my journey of femininity, I'm able to now say, okay, it's okay for me to make decisions, yes, but also to be submissive. It's okay for me to make a decision, but it's okay for me to be soft.
Yeah.
It's okay to me to make a stand, but do it in a voice that's going to be soothing to my man, you know?
Say
Mm.
that.
Yes.
Say that.
Look, what I learned was that, as every one of you all said, the ideas of femininity from back in the day was so much of a doormat. And that is so not what femininity is today. It is so not that. And I appreciate the fact that I was able to learn that for myself. And so that there would be nothing that I would pass on to my daughters, as well as have an expectation of the woman that I'm with in the future. So, man, that was powerful. So I got a question, because most of us have grown up in church, right? And so do we have these ideals of church or whatnot? So all of us have learned the Proverbs 31 woman. So if you're familiar with the story, I want to ask this question. Would you consider the Proverbs 31 woman to be a feminine woman?
Yes.
What about
Yes.
her? What about her makes her feminine?
It's so dynamic. I said that earlier, to be fair. Women are dynamic. So whether you consider the attributes described as feminine or not, it's only a woman that can truly, in essence, describe femininity, or you can describe what you see or what you want to happen. But you cannot tell a woman as a man what femininity is. And the last I checked, most of the stories in the Bible and the text are from a male perspective and also
Absolutely.
translated by man.
And
So,
written by a man.
and written by man. So look at that. So I don't know how much input was put in from the feminine perspective, but some of the characteristics are still feminine. There's still femininity. It's just truly dynamic. I stand on that mountain. It's truly dynamic. We're everything.
Miss
I'm not
Juanita.
saying men aren't everything, but we're everything.
So I
And this is,
absolutely,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I absolutely agree with you that the Proverbs 31 woman is definitely feminine. You got to think,
Yes.
let's look at her. She is aware of her gifts and she knows how to use those gifts to enhance her home, to enhance her children. She actually uses her gifts so that her husband gains the respect of others. Her children call her blessed. She's able to provide using her gifts and bring efficiency to the home, whether it's contributions to finances, encouragement. She is just all of that. So yes, absolutely, she is definitely
Ding,
a
ding,
feminine
ding.
woman.
I would agree. Definitely, she's a feminine woman. Even, I mean, today's society would question whether or not she would be a feminine woman, but because she takes on the role of producing for her household, she is not concerned about her children being even lost or wasting away in the storms that are to come, the weathers that come. She is confident in who her family is. I hear that the Proverbs 31 woman is, she holds it together. And to me, that's in essence femininity itself. I mean, she's holding her household together. Her husband is proud of her. She has respect in the community, and she is not a lazy woman at all. She's out here getting it. So yeah, for sure, she's a
She resembles us.
Right.
absolutely.
She resembles the women right here. She resembles Alicia, Juanita, Jessica. She resembles all of us. But it's always from a male's perspective, right? And so I do believe she's a feminine woman. And once again, those social constructs keep us in a chokehold.
Right. So if we
That's
look
why.
at her, she was a business owner. She ran a household. She
Mhm.
worked with her hands. She cooked, she cleaned, she raised a house. She had the heart of her husband. So here's the
Mhm.
next question for you ladies. How do we raise our women today to be this Proverbs 31 woman?
I think that
Well, I like to say I have three grown adult daughters and one son, and I couldn't be more elated by what God, the strength God gave me and the wisdom to guide these three young ladies who I now admire. So I believe I believe I've done that. Now, does it mean we're done? Because there's no such thing as done in child rearing, as I find out and my wallet finds out. There's no ever time. There's never a time. There's never a time. But any such time as this, I'm very proud of my daughters. I admire them. I admire their diversity, their freedom, their ability to speak for themselves, to advocate for themselves. Complete femininity to me. I'm here for it.
Well,
I was
I
waiting
feel
on being.
I feel that part of femininity, again, I will always go back to being self-aware. And I think that even with raising or trying to instill in femininity in today's modern world, I think that we have to make sure that we have women understand who they are before they try to conform to what society is saying. Because again, the conformity has been the problem, is that society has given us this image of what a woman is. You have that independent woman, you have that strong woman, you have all these acronyms and all of these characteristics that they're using for women nowadays, that they've moved away from femininity, because the balance is still, I can be strong and handle my life while still being soft to encourage others. I mean, there has to be that balance.
I think that demonstration is the best teacher when it comes down to teaching femininity to our daughters, and even to demonstrate to where our sons can identify it. Um, so, in us embodying femininity and walking it out individually, I believe that that's been. I'm sure that we could say that our daughters and our sons have learned from what they've seen, but then
Mhm.
also accountability, because we spoken earlier about being aware of your faults as well as your shortcomings and so forth. But when you hold yourself accountable to that, you realize that you're demonstrating something. You are allowing your children, who are sometimes our best critics or those who know us the best, um, being held accountable to yourself to be able to even identify, hey, as I walk this thing out, I have made mistakes. Making sure those mistakes aren't passed on to that next generation as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important.
And so, like, as you ladies are speaking, I'm a father of daughters. Chris has daughters. Chris has a daughter. Like, the importance of the man in that daughter's life to also teach them femininity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, our role is tantamount to the success of our young ladies actually becoming this Proverbs 31, this idealistic woman that is spoken of in the scriptures. Like, I know that I poured into my daughters what womanhood is, what femininity is. It is independence, it is strength, it is self-awareness, it is love, it is empathy, it is care. And have we, like, is it lost? If you look at how our relationship, our familial structures are right now, 70% of our youth are living in single parent households, and they're living with women, and the men are absent, you know? And so, like, you women, young girls need men to teach them also what it looks like to be a man. Chris, tell us, like, what, the importance of your role within your daughter's life.
I like the way you mentioned it about teaching our daughter's femininity. With Alexis, and she talks about this, to this day. Alexis taught me a lot, and I know that when you are a father and you tend to father her heart, there's certain things that came to me to share with her. For example, opening the door. I opened the door, and I do faith like this now, but I opened the door for Alexis, and then I told her, I said, now when I open the door for you, you reach over and you open the door for me. When we would go out, I would open the door for her. Now, mind you, I said it's a kind gesture. Doesn't mean that a man is not a gentleman. If he doesn't open the door for you, it may mean that he hasn't been taught. See, this is teaching her now to be considerate, which is a form of femininity. And I'm sure that when we continue this conversation, when it comes to men, one of my questions is going to be, when does a man walk in his femininity? Oh, you follow me? When is he walking in femininity and it not be effeminate? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
So with that, Chris, like, you have to understand the way that we're built. We all start off as women, right? Physiologically, we start off as women. So there's femininity in every man, and so you can't turn around and think like like this ain't a caveman construct, right? We start off as women and we transition into manhood physiologically, and anybody wants to argue that point, do your research. I promise you, you start off as a woman before you turn into a man. And so it is important for us to teach. So when you think, like, I do that very same thing with my daughters when I go out. Like, and if I go out on a date with a woman and she reached for a door, I stop and I'm like, nuh-uh. Because today, like they're not getting that. Like, women open doors so quick. I'll be like, girl, if you don't, like, what we doing? Your ass down. Don't go nowhere. Don't what you get out the car for? Like, I don't need no.
Can I add a perspective to that? Women are doing that because, I'm gonna be honest with you, from a financial state, and like you said, the men are absent. We're already used to doing it. It's not an act of defiance or an act of I'm so independent and you just don't have it. It's not a matter of that. If you're doing it all the time, I mean, it takes like 21 to 28 days to form or break a habit. If you're doing that all the time for years and years, it's hard to just wait for somebody. You don't know if he's already taught. We just go for the door. It's not an act of defiance. And I think some men think that some of these things based on the verbiage that some people have, are acts of defiance, and they're not. It's just it's routine. I open my door. It's nice to have a gentleman want to open it for me, but I know I don't have that most of the time, so I open my door.
So let's
So
come
I
back
have
to
to
that.
remind
So the
myself.
question is, how do we teach our daughters? Because I believe that part of femininity, this is me, right? And this is something I
Mhm.
teach my daughters, is part of femininity is to teach that because not like there's absentee men. I'm going to tell you
Mhm.
that. Absentee fathers teaching young men how to be gentlemen. Chivalry and courtship is a lost art today. Um, but part of that is like my daughters, if they go on a date, will not allow for a man to, because I open doors for my daughters. I taught them this is a standard. This is part of you as a woman. This is part of your womanhood. And you don't
Oh no, you
accept a
are
man who does.
absolutely correct in teaching it. It's just that we become very remotely independent. It's just routinely independent. And so even when we're taught that, because my dad taught me that too, but even though we're taught that, I might be standing outside the car all day, getting rained on and stuff, messing up my edges, waiting on somebody to open the door. I don't always have that luxury, and a lot of young ladies do not. You see women resting, going on brunches, self-care and stuff. Where's the man opening the door? Unless I pay for valet parking.
If I
Listen,
may, if I may, real quick, I've learned to ask. If he doesn't demonstrate, I learn to ask, "Will you open the door for me, please?" And
Absolutely.
that in turn creates the habit. That introduces the
Mhm.
habit.
now catch this here. Wisdom says, and wisdom is feminine.
So we want to close with this. And again, we appreciate you ladies because this has been a one powerful conversation. I appreciate
Yes,
you
it
all.
has.
Um, so we're gonna start with Miss Juanita and just tell us how important is femininity in relationships? The role of femininity in relationships.
I think it's the pillar. I think honestly, it's not the foundation, but it is the pillar of making sure that you have longevity in a relationship. It actually helps to validate the individuals in the relationship. Femininity actually improves the strength of the relationship. It helps with the emotional, spiritual, financial, and the value of the partnership. And also, it serves as an example to your offspring. So, yes, it's definitely a pillar.
The examples that I have set for my kids, that my son is the oldest, he's 32, he's about to be 33 in a week. The example that I've set and the modeling I've done, um, I can say it's strengthened over time, and it didn't end when they were 18. So I bring femininity even how I handle my children, my grandchildren, even as adults, my partners in business. I'm always the femininity is the glue, the cohesive strand that keeps everything together, the camaraderie. That's usually what the product of femininity is. The result, you can tell when femininity is added, it's important. The result you get from it is the pillar, as Juanita said. It's that cohesive fiber. It's that emotional intelligence. It's intuition. It's all those things and being able to channel those things. And that's all part of femininity to me.
I have to ask that if I'm not showing up feminine, or if there are no components of femininity in a relationship, I must, and I acknowledge that I am feminine. I have to question, am I being my true self in relationship? So, and if I am expecting for my partner to show up as himself, I definitely have to, there must be femininity in our relationship, or do we do we even have a relationship? Do we even have a way of learning how to relate to the other? Because are we even showing up as our true self in that relationship? Definitely vital.
And so as I think about this, is you need to have it's like a battery, it's the charge, right? You have a positive and a negative in order for the electricity to flow through that battery, right? So You need to have the masculine, you need to have the femininity as a part of every relationship. But it doesn't mean that the woman is always operating in the masculine or in the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
There's times that men have to fall in line to be under the guise of the female who's moving in her masculinity at that time. Um, so so let's close with this. Has this been subverted in today's society? Has this
No,
been subverted in today's society?
no,
No. Why
no.
you say no?
I think we're still here. It's still feminine energy. It's
Okay.
just it's perception. A lot of it's still feminine. It's still we're operating heavily in our feminine
You
energy
said
and
heavily. I
taking
like
time
that.
to reflect and taking time heavy on the heavily. Yes, and we're taking time
You're not cooking,
to
Jessica. Go ahead.
reflect. Yes, let her cook. You gotta feminine, it's everything. It's and femininity leadership is also knowing when to follow, as I said earlier. So if you then it's also about charisma, you just can't come off strong hammer, you just think you just gonna get everything you want. That's not how it works. It's about teamwork, it's about working in tandem, it's about partnership, it's taking some of that ego out of it. You start putting ego in there, you're not operating in femininity or masculinity, you're operating in foolishness, the circus show. So we have to definitely femininity is always there, and we show up in our femininity. Now what we're met with is something different, and then our femininity allows us to operate within that, whatever it comes up. But no, I don't think it's been subverted.
That's a good
I think
question.
it's stronger than ever now.
I could give a little pushback, but okay, talk to me, Juanita, Alicia, give me
You
something.
could. I'm here for it.
We acknowledge that men operate in the feminine at times as well. When we even look at affection that's being given, there are times that men have to nurture their
Mm,
partner, nurturing their children, and so forth. There's an aspect of nurture that men do. As a matter of fact, when we were in the break talking about teaching femininity to your daughters as fathers, that is expressions of femininity in itself. In teaching it, how else can you teach it to your daughters unless you demonstrate it?
Right.
So I definitely, oh, it's here. I'm with you, Jessica. It's
yeah,
definitely.
I think femininity is the conduit to life. I really do. I believe the Most High made us that way.
Mhm. Miss Juanita, close us out.
Well, I definitely agree with the ladies. I have to say that. Subverted, no. Attacked, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I do believe that society has tried to attack femininity. I think they've tried to make it seem like that's something that's not needed. It's inappropriate, and women should not be that way. Because you got to think about it. If we can attack femininity, we can attack relationships,
That's
which
right.
will then attack the
That's right.
community. So yeah, subverted. I don't think it will ever be subverted. It's too strong. But yeah, definitely will take some blows.
Yeah, heavy on the heavy.
Heavy.
She back on that. And all I can think of her just whipping something up, some kind of cream.
Right.
Something
Yes,
that's all I hear and see with her, man.
Well, it is heavy
yes.
Heavy
whipping
on the
cream.
heavy.
You're heavy on that. I
Well, that's
think
so
that
prophetic.
I will.
Yeah.
I think that today's society has subverted this slightly because I don't think that we speak. You hear too much of women in societal conversations now being so much more in charge and operating in the masculine. And I think that it gets lost some in this in societal norms. I don't think that it is fully left, but I do think it has been slightly subverted. So I think that's me, but I'm a step back and let the ladies go ahead and run it. But because we ain't got time to get into it where
It always turns out better when we do.
oh, it totally does.
Listen.
One thing about me, I am never going to ever subvert the power of the woman. The
I
woman
feel that.
is
I feel that.
the woman is always, to me, the most important component in any relationship. It is not the man. It's always going to be the woman. That doesn't take anything away from the man, but I
No,
always say the same thing, that the woman is the neck, the man is the head. And the head can't do nothing without the neck.
not a thing.
So that's me.
Except he's stuck.
Except he's stuck.
Well, as they
You can't
say,
pivot if you don't have a neck.
Can't do nothing.
any more isms? Okay. So I got because y'all gonna keep going. Anyone one-liners? Any more? Just let
Now
me
I
know.
have so many. I
Okay.
was trying not to inundate y'all with too much. I was trying not to do too much. I was trying, I'm definitely a feminist. I was here for feminine energy. I was here and no, I will never honor a naysayer. No, I'm just playing. No, I love it. I love it.
Well,
I
as
love
they
it.
say, did not our hearts burn as they spoke to us? Join us next
Yes.
week as we continue our conversation, the power of femininity. These ladies, thank you guys so much. Juanita,
Thank
Alicia,
you so
Jessica.
much.
Man, listen, if we could give you a hug, we would. But it's going to be an air hug and also a round of applause. So, man, let's give it up for these ladies. These awesome women who have contributed to birthing vision and have demonstrated that it's okay to be feminine and strong. Thank you,
Mr.
everyone.
Garvin, literally and figuratively,
Nice.
bringing light.
Until next week, continue to be blessed. Remember, when brothers talk, we positively impact lives and develop nations. Join the movement. We'll talk with you next time.